Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Open Agenda, a podcast created to help connect residents with their local government and give a behind-the-scenes look at how things actually work here in Queen Anne's County. I'm Bruce Grove from Queen Anne's County Television.
And I'm Beth Mulaski, Public Information Manager for Queen Anne's County. Through this podcast, we hope to help residents better understand how county government operates, introduce you to the people doing the work, and talk about the issues that affect our community.
Today, we're joined by Jay Falstad, who's the Executive Director of the Queen Anne's County Conservation Association, to talk about several topics regarding the history of conservation in the county and community involvement during the development process.
We're excited to discuss how all of these topics impact our residents, especially when it comes to new projects in our community.
So let's jump right in and get started. I consider this agenda open.
Lights on, mic check. What's happening with QAC next? Go behind the scenes with Bruce and Beth. The conversation shaping the county's future.
This is the Open Agenda.
Welcome back to our studio. Beth and I have a really cool treat today because one of the favorite things that Beth and I get to do is get different perspective when we do these interviews. So how cool is it to bring in someone from outside the government? And we're going to talk a little bit about conservation and environmental education today. So that must mean we're talking to Jay Falstad. So thank you for coming in and joining us
Thank
for
you for
another
having
episode.
me.
Yeah, of course. But we want to get a little bit of background about you. Can you tell us a little bit
Sure.
more? There's a lot more to you than just the person who's coming to the meetings and talking about, agriculture and environment. Tell us, what got you involved and what's a little bit of your history?
So my involvement in Queen Anne's County started when I moved here, where there was a proposal on Unicorn Lake, at the headwaters of Unicorn Lake, to put a landfill. And I didn't know it when I moved in, learned about it shortly after moving in, got involved at the time, started learning who the commissioners were, learning about how county government works, how state government works, and that's how I got involved. But my interest in the environment and conservation goes all the way back to when I was a little kid. And my parents will tell you stories of me walking around with magnifying glasses and looking at ants and worms and getting bit in the face by snakes and all kinds of stuff. So my care for the earth and my care for the environment goes all the way back to when I was a little kid.
That's very cool. Now, little kid around here, Queens County, or?
All over the place. So
Yeah.
I lived in Wisconsin as a little kid. I lived in Washington State, lived in northern Delaware, and then ultimately came here.
Yeah. Do you miss any of them?
To me, the Eastern Shore is just the greatest place on the planet. And I've been to some really cool places all around the country, and I've seen some amazing things. Mountain lakes, North Woods. I've heard wolves howl at night. But
Nothing
for me,
beats the Eastern Shore.
What's that?
Nothing beats the Eastern Shore.
The Eastern Shore is unique, unlike anything else, and that's why I will work so hard to try and protect it. It deserves to be protected with everything we have because it's just that unique.
Perfect place to put down your roots and put out your magnifying glass, huh?
Yeah, it's true.
So, and you wear so many different hats. There's conservation and education, getting involved in the government, and then your full-time job. Like, how do you make all of those things meld together?
Well, fortunately for me, they all kind of intertwine just organically, and I don't have to do very much because, there's that old saying, if you find something that you love and something that you like, you'll never have to work another day in your life. And so for me, I kind of feel that way. I've always been interested in politics. I've always been interested in the environment. I've always been interested in land use. And so it's just luck that everything I'm doing now involves all three. And
That's awesome.
yeah, I'm very lucky, and I don't take it for granted.
Yeah. And you said you were like that since you were little, but was there a time educationally, professionally, where maybe something clicked for you and you made that move, or maybe you had a mentor that you were kind of teaching you the ropes of doing all this, or did you just kind of figure it all out on your own?
It's a combination of things. I mean, in terms of mentoring, obviously your parents are big influencers on you. And so my parents are great. They were always encouraging us to be outside and really getting our hands dirty and learning about things. Later in my high school years, we had a neighbor who was a former U.S. senator, and interestingly enough, he was the senator that Joe Biden beat in 1972. It was Caleb Boggs.
Oh, wow.
And Caleb Boggs was Delaware's only governor, senator, and House member up to that point. And he was just a very unassuming person, and a big influence to me, though, because when it came time for like holiday events and stuff, here's a guy who's very well known, and we'd go out and hand out like Goodwill packages at Christmas time and Thanksgiving. And so he taught me how to be involved in my community. And he was a big influence. So you take all that together. I can't point to any one specific thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a culmination of a lot of different things and a lot of different people that have helped influence me along the way.
That's pretty cool. So can you tell us a little bit about the Conservation Association?
Yeah. So Queen Anne's Conservation Association, also known as QACA, was founded in the 60s. It was originally called the Kent Queen Anne's Conservation Association, and it was formed when there was a proposal to bring some nuclear development to Queen Anne's County along the shores of the Chester River. And at the time, a number of neighbors expressed obvious concern about that. Keep in mind, this is the height of the Cold War. You've got nuclear facilities going up basically all around us. You had Salem in New Jersey, Calvert Cliffs over in Calvert County, 3 Mile Island up in Limerick, Pennsylvania. The only project that was ultimately stopped was the one in Queen Anne's County. And so that's what ultimately got the organization moving. Also at the same time, with the Nixon administration, there was the advent of the Clean Water Act, and there was a new movement aimed at helping to protect the environment. So you had a bunch of people coming together. I won't call them hippies, but it was a new awakening of how we were treating the earth. And all that kind of came together at the same time. And so since then, we follow land use and environmental issues in Queen Anne's County. We have for now 60 years.
Wow.
We follow most of the development proposals in the county. We've challenged many of them. Some we've won, some we've lost. But we're always paying attention. So in the end, we are a public interest organization. We look out for environmental impact in Queen Anne's County and in the region, but we really do try and contain ourselves to just Queen Anne's County.
So in the history of it, and maybe you don't know the answer, but was it even close that maybe nuclear could have been built? Like, how close did that come to happening?
Yeah, I mean, if you read some of the old articles, some of the issues that we are confronted with today are exactly the same as they were back in the 60s. You've got a whole group of proponents on one side who see that this could bring economic development and new business and new housing, and you've got others on the other side that don't want to see that. So very, very similar circumstances to what you see now, where people were going to, back then they called it the zoning board, but they were going to planning commission meetings. There were public meetings held at a high school, or it wasn't, the Liberty Building wasn't the center for county government at the time. But the politics were still the same.
Right.
You had some people opposed and some people in favor of. So it depending on the politics of the day, it could have gone either direction. And
Scarier close than it was far away.
Yeah, and
that's wild.
Just look at what happened in other jurisdictions that surround us. They all got approved. So it could have easily happened.
And how different would our lives be right now? That's wild to even think about. But you say it's, come full circle almost in some aspects, all government. And now we're talking about a different kind of energy, and we're talking about solar now.
Oh, yeah.
So is that kind of like the same premise, the same kind of zoning going through? Like, how do you see that work?
Yeah, I mean, there's some similarities. For me, I think the solar project is just unique only because I believe in climate change. I don't think there's any secret that the climate is changing.
Yeah.
Our weather patterns are changing, and we are confronted with a new era. And so getting ourselves off of carbon-based fuels is certainly important. Solar can help in that regard. Our primary issue is when you've got all of these other surface options available to you, parking lots, the rooftops on malls, big, expansive areas that are already either covered in concrete or on the top of a building, why not put solar panels there? And then put them in areas where the electric is actually being used. So direct these things more towards urban centers rather than taking up productive farmland that, one, has been productive for thousands of years, but since Europeans have been here, at least for the last 400 years. And why you'd want to take away that unique resource is, to me, makes no sense. And then from the political side of it, just having the state come in and sort of exercise the heavy hand of Big Brother saying, you know, we're going to force the counties to do this, just created conflict that I wish could have been avoided.
Yeah, I know you just said it, but I feel like it begs repeating, because I've heard people think that the argument is we don't want solar, it's bad. But it's not solar is bad, it's where are we putting it?
So to illustrate that point, I have solar on my barn. It is powering our farm, and I'm not opposed to solar at all.
Right.
I say if the government's going to do this, then the government should lead by example and put solar panels atop every government building and every school building in the state of Maryland. Queen Anne's County does a good job in that we do lead by example. There's a solar array over behind the high school, which is good. And there's some other solar projects that are helpful. Where the state made their error, in my view, is exercising this heavy hand and trying to force it all on farmland, and then taking away county authority to ultimately make it happen.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems to be the big issue, and that's what people don't understand is that, and I've heard you say it a million times, that you're for solar, you have solar at your house.
I love it.
But how do we balance that with like bringing in the renewable energy, preserving farmland, taking care of property rights? Like, how do you balance all these things? I mean, what is the solution? I don't know.
So for me, the solution, I think, is fairly simple. And Queen Anne's County did an excellent job. I was involved in it early on. We came up with a solar plan that directed solar projects to a particular area within a distance of the primary trunk line that runs up down the Eastern Shore. And looking for areas where it wasn't class 1 soils. It was kind of the soils that didn't have high agricultural productivity. And it maybe makes sense to put solar projects there. But really, before you get to that point, let's do a real inventory around the county on flat surfaces where these could be placed, like parking lots or government buildings. Let's exhaust all of those options first before even thinking about taking up a single acre of farmland. We just shouldn't do it. And so it's being done now because the state's allowing it.
Yeah.
And it's just a frustrating dimension of our energy policy.
Yeah. I've always thought the parking lot was like the go-to solution.
Yeah.
Because then you have shaded parking with solar on top. Chesapeake College has it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And that's a perfect example. But you look at all of the parking lots around the county.
Right.
Really on the Eastern Shore, why couldn't we replicate that? And so what the industry will tell you is we can, it's just it costs more.
Oh, okay. I was going to say it has to be something with money.
Yeah. The only thing is what they're really saying is we won't be able to collect as much subsidies from the government as we would if we put it on farmland.
Sure.
So whereas they have big margins right now, those margins would be shrunk. And at the end of the day, it's all about how much money that these things can make.
It's always the money.
Yeah, follow the money.
Yeah, follow the money. That's right. And you speak as QACA. You also speak as yourself a lot. I've seen you come to meetings. So you speak as a resident too. What if there's other residents that they want to get out, they feel overwhelmed, they don't know how to participate, they don't know how to get the information that you have or that the government has? What's your advice to someone who might want to get started?
So, one, Queen Anne's County makes it really, really easy to participate in the process. Our planning department does an excellent job of posting staff reports online. You can get them with every agenda. There are staff technical advisory meetings that oftentimes are well ahead of planning commission meetings where people can attend those. It's just about trying to find the information. But I have to say the county's website is a great place to start. You can find boatloads of information there, and it's all there. I mean, all of the agendas are posted, and all of the background documents are posted. And what's kind of inexcusable, at least for me, is people really don't even have to leave their house to participate in their local government, because
we make it so easy.
It's very easy. You can find all of the background information online. You don't even have to leave your couch. You can just turn on your phone and provide public comment, and it has almost the same effect as you being in the Liberty Building. So for those residents down on Kent Island that say Centerville's, too far north and it's hard to get to, I get it, but there's so many opportunities to participate. I urge everyone to participate, because at the end of the day, we are all part of a community. The government is our government, and it's just a whole lot better to try and participate and be a part of the solution rather than just getting online and belly aching about it. So I encourage everybody to try and get involved.
This is the perfect time to do a mini PSA on, people will, like you said, they'll reach out on social media and they contact and they make their nasty comment or they make their positive comment. We get both, but not everyone sees those. Yeah. Like Beth and I see them.
We see them.
We read them. And, even if we agree, we disagree, we would love to pass the message along, but that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Like, go to a meeting, go to our Zoom, make the comment the right way. You submit it through email.
Yeah.
But do it that way. And I'm off my soapbox of social media. We still comment. We like comments. We like interacting, but not the right people always see it.
And discussions are good online. I mean, I find them very valuable, the discussions. I mean, and I do share those discussions. So don't get me wrong. Those comments don't go into the official record. But Bruce and I see all the conversations that people are having online about all these issues. Yeah. And we do let the commissioners know, hey, this is kind of a summary of what people are talking about this issue or that issue, but it's not the right way. Now, you come to almost all the meetings. A lot of times it's just you and I in the audience.
Yeah, by the end.
At the meeting. So just to try and persuade people again to get involved, like, have you seen times where it really makes a difference in state and local? Because I know you participate in state politics as well. Have you seen it make a big difference?
Have I ever? I mean, going back to the very first issue that I mentioned, the landfill up near me had already gotten its approvals. I mean, that was underway. Construction hadn't started, but the approvals were already in place. It was only with state legislation that project was ultimately stopped. But all that came about because members of the community came together and worked for it and influenced their government in a way to ultimately stop what would have been just a really rotten project all the way around. And there have been others. The Fast C project in Roosburg back in 2010, huge project where that was $500 million of federal money coming here, where they wanted to put in a huge project near Tuckahoe Park. Citizens got involved on that because it could have transformed the whole county in not good ways, and because it was adjacent to the county's only state park. But were it not for the citizens on that matter, we could be living with that kind of project. So I've seen over and over again where I can't remember what author wrote it, but she said, never underestimate what a small group of citizens can do. And it's true, just get involved. You'll feel better about yourself, and you'll meet some great people along the way too. I mean,
they can come sit with us.
Yeah, they can come sit with us.
Yeah, we're nice.
But so you bring up something that's interesting. If you look at any county commissioner agenda, not all agendas are like this. And I've seen plenty of other county agendas that just do it the old way, where they just put a list of items that are on there that are going to be on discussion for that night. Queen Anne's County does it differently, whereby they put the actual time.
Yeah.
So if you look at the agenda, it'll say, now I know that there's some flexibility and not everything follows, but for the most part, if there's something on the agenda that starts at 5:45, it's probably going to start at 5:45. And so it just kind of brings me back to where there's really no excuse for people not to participate because, and on top of that, you got press and public comment at both the beginning
And the end.
So, yeah, you can get on, you can be live, you can submit comment through email. I know you're reading emails all the time online. Yeah, there's just really no excuse. So I just urge people to get involved.
Oh, yeah. We're lonely in the audience. We want people to come and sit with
Yeah,
us.
that room should be full every week.
Yeah.
As many people that live here.
Oh, yeah.
Those seats should
Absolutely.
be filled with people that want change or don't want change, but they want to be heard.
You don't even have to have change just to participate.
Yeah.
And I have to say, the meetings that I've been in where the room is packed, I mean, what a great scene.
Yeah.
People exercising their right to participate in their government. And whether you agree or disagree with kind of the way things are going, you still have to appreciate the fact that we're one of the only countries in the world where you can come in and address your local commissioners without getting, your hand cut off.
Yep.
That is so unique. It's something that we should not just take for granted. And so I take it seriously. I hope others will too. We have a great system and people ought to participate in it.
Yeah.
And to tie a note on that, or a bow, we just saw it work. We just saw people come out, say what they wanted. They were at the budget hearings, and now things are in development to make it happen.
Yeah.
So we see it work.
Yeah.
You just have to come out.
The skate park. I think the skate
That's a
park
good
is
one,
my
too.
favorite example. You guys weren't there, and we don't broadcast those meetings live, but they're really interesting. The Parks and Rec advisory meetings are so interesting.
Yeah.
And so I went because I saw people talking online again and discussing, hey, you guys should go to this meeting. I was like, why are they talking about the parks? I've never even had been to a Parks and Rec advisory board meeting. And I go there, it was packed full of kids. They had written a whole entire proposal of what they wanted, that they wanted a skate park.
Yeah.
They had numbers, how much it would cost. They had drawings, they had companies, all of this stuff. And we were like, wow, like they actually got their parents to drive them here, participate in government. And then Parks and Rec went and looked for grants. And a year and a half later, it was built.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the perfect
And you
example.
drive by there now, there's always kids out there using it. So that is when you talk about how citizens can help influence the system, their government, it's a great example. But I mean, I could probably, if I sat and thought about it for a little bit, I could probably cite a few dozen of those examples, both pro and con, where citizens are on both sides of the equation. But yeah, it's
the color of the courthouse.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's all kinds of
Controversy.
That was a mistake. They didn't mean to take all of the whitewash off of the bricks. That was a mistake that the contractor made, and then somebody took a photo of it. Look at the exposed brick. Doesn't that look better? I hope they keep it that way.
Yeah.
And I think within a couple hours, we had like hundreds of emails in our public
Hey, it
comment.
looks great.
Yeah, well, they weren't that nice about it, but but they wanted us to keep it that way. They didn't want us to paint it white again, and it's not.
It is not. So could we shift over to Calico Fields Environmental Education Center?
Oh,
and
yeah,
could you
I
tell
wanna
us a little
hear
bit
about
about what that is?
Yeah, so it's one of my favorite subjects. I post about it all the time for your audience who looks at Facebook. Follow my page, and there's also a Calico Fields page. When my wife and I bought our farm, we knew right away that it was so unique and so special that we wanted to share it. And so pretty much right from the beginning, we were happy to have friends and people we knew to come by and walk through the woods, walk through the field, and so on. As we got bigger, we started with a lavender farm, which we don't have anymore. But because of our proximity to the water and a few other attributes, we wanted to open it up. And so we've hosted school groups, garden clubs. We've had school-age students from pre-K all the way to graduate level, come and learn about pollination and the connectedness that we all share with the earth. So we've got a wildflower field, and teaching that part of pollination and how it all works is just, it's so cool when you see people that haven't had that experience before all of a sudden just say, oh yeah, it now makes sense that an apple or a tomato started as a flower, which was pollinated by a bee, and then renders a fruit. And inside there's a seed, which can start the whole generation over again. And when you see that whole link finally connect, it's really cool. So, yeah. And then also on the farm, we've got a woodland trail, and, we're always trying to create new habitat for wildlife and so on. So, yeah, when I'm not doing QACA work, I love just going through our woods and finding something cool that I can share. So, yeah.
And something that I think a lot of people around here, myself included, take for granted, because there are people that move here or visit here, and they didn't grow up with this education. They didn't grow up seeing it firsthand. So having this kind of experience is really cool to offer to people.
What we have here on the Eastern Shore is so unique. If you drive around, I made a post about this just recently. If you drive anywhere in Queen Anne's County, right now especially, you have America the Beautiful unfolding in living color. You've got amber waves of grain. You've got small towns with porches and American flags and porch swings, pickup trucks, tractors driving down the road, farms and forests. All of this is so unique. And then once you factor in the waterways of the Chester and the Wye River and all these creeks, what we have here is so unique, and it is worth protecting. And so it's one reason why I'm happy that I do the work that I do. Mm-hmm. I try and promote it wherever I can. I urge others to try and get involved, because once lost, you'll never get it back. And it'll be impossible. And we've seen other areas, both on the Eastern Shore and definitely on across the bridge, where once it's lost, you cannot get it back. It's impossible. So, it's worth trying to protect. What we have here is a gem. It's a gem.
I'm going to kind of change up one of my next questions, because it kind of fits, but it's a little different. But as we move forward in society, we see lots of changes. We see lots of technological advances, infrastructure changing. Do you see people not making that connection as much as they used to on the Eastern Shore? Or do you think that's still ingrained and strong here?
So you'd have to pick that apart. I think the people that live here and grew up here, mm-hmm. I think they have that connection, which is great. Some of the folks that maybe have moved in from urban centers that maybe didn't grow up with that connection,
right,
are trying to, I guess, come to terms with it maybe. And so we should be promoting it however we can. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. But
no, it does,
there's changes, and I think it's just important for this county, given that we're a rural county, to celebrate what we have and not be bashful about trying to protect it and promote it. Because as I say, once you lose it, it's impossible to get back.
Have there been anything that stood out since you've been having families and students and kids to the farm? Any kind of like...
Yes, so there was an example recently. I was down on Tuckahoe Creek. This wasn't on the farm, but it kind of illustrates something that I just took for granted. There was a student there from an urban school. We were right along the river, and there was a bullfrog in the woods. Now, we've all heard bullfrogs.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing is just croaking away. And the kid raised his hand and he said, "What is that?" And I just couldn't believe it, because I have grown up with bullfrogs my whole life. And I realized right then and there that some kids do not have that connection to nature. Mm-hmm. And I was glad to tell them what it was. but sad over the fact that how can a kid not grow up hearing a bullfrog? And I
Yeah.
just realized if they grow up in a city and that's where they've been their whole entire lives,
They
and they
don't.
hear traffic and fire engines and horns and all that stuff, that hearing a bullfrog would be a unique experience. So
Yeah.
that's I know I probably got off a
No.
little bit, but that's I've seen that, and that's not the only time I've seen when you see a little kid look at a bumblebee up close for the first time and realize that it's not going to sting them.
Yeah.
That's always a cool experience too. So yeah, emphasizing that connectedness to nature that we all have is crucial. It's crucial for us. We all need it. We need to have that connection to nature.
What's wild is it's not just children though, because I know Chris is in the booth and he probably knows exactly what I'm talking about. But we would go out to the 4-H park and do interviews, and we were doing an interview. I won't put that person out on blast, but they were petting a cow and a horse, and it was the first time they had ever seen one in real life.
Wow.
Whoa! And it was someone that you would not have thought had not, but as they were petting the cow, they were telling me first time I've ever seen one in real life.
And so isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Because things
Mind-blowing.
that we all take for granted and seeing every day,
Yeah.
those amber waves of grain, tractors driving up and down the road, we see it, but so many others haven't. And it's really crucial, in my view, to have people have that connection to farms, to forests, to the creatures that live there, and have an understanding about it. So yeah.
You've really painted a picture and brought it all together of why it's so important.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Carl Sagan has this great line that Wayne Gilchrist turned me on to, and he said that we are all touched by the wind and the rain in the same way, no matter where you are. And if you start to think about that, it's true, but it means that we all have this connectedness to the earth that we all have to appreciate and at least have a general understanding of. And the reason I say that, because if you don't have that understanding, then why are you ever going to feel compelled to want to try and protect it? So you've got to have that understanding of a forest or of a farm.
Yeah.
What's going to impact the box turtle of the woods or the terrapin that's trying to cross the road down on Kent Island. You have to have that experience, because if you don't, then it all just goes by the wayside, and we'll all fall victim to it when that happens. So yeah, I emphasize it as much as I can.
Well, like Beth said, you painted a beautiful picture, and now we know what we are protecting. We kind of have to know, what are we protecting it from? So are there any big environmental changes or land use challenges that you think the county might face over, let's just say, the next decade?
Yeah. And so it's a political issue that we've probably all heard of. It's the Bay Bridge.
Yeah.
And my concern has been that just as the first span opened up the eastern shore and the second span allowed for overdevelopment of Kent Island, that a new bridge could potentially open up the rest of the eastern shore to widespread development. And so there are talks underway right now with trying to figure out ways to preserve a lot of the farmland on the shore to prevent that overdevelopment happening. As you can imagine, there's big time politics on both sides of this issue that rise all the way from the local town commissioners in some jurisdiction somewhere, all the way up to the governor, and probably up to the federal level too, when you get into Secretary of Transportation and so on. So yeah, that's probably going to be the next big battle. Also, and another reason that I focus on this, if you look at where we are, the pressure from development is squeezing in from all sides. So you've got 20 million people that live on the other side of the Bay Bridge that come over this way on weekends. Not all 20 million, but a lot of them that go
It
to...
feels like it.
Yeah,
It feel like it. You've got pressure coming down from the north, from Philadelphia, pressure from the east in Delaware, and so on. And if you look at us in relation to a map, you can draw an arc that kind of starts from Richmond to Washington, to Baltimore, to Wilmington to Philadelphia. It's this big arc that kind of surrounds the Eastern Shore. All of that area has been overbuilt and developed. People over there sit in traffic for hours and hours trying to commute. What we still have here are back roads that are surrounded by corn and bean fields, and you can get from point A to point B without going through a million different traffic lights. All that's worth trying to protect. So the pressures are ongoing. They'll continue to be ongoing, and it's going to be a constant. It's going to be a constant effort. I don't want to call it a fight, but it's a constant effort to try and protect what we have here.
Mm-hmm.
So are you hopeful?
I am hopeful, and I'll tell you why.
Well, you're working with the kids now, so I mean, have you seen things that kind of give you hope for?
I do, but it goes beyond just the generations. So what's interesting is I am very hopeful. Here's why. When you look back in history, in the 1970s, there was pollution everywhere. We didn't have things like the Clean Water Act or the Clean Air Act. And so it was only when things were pushed so far that people started to realize that we all do share this planet. The wind and rain that I was talking about, they all affect us equally.
Yep.
And so we've got to do something. And so from my perspective, we all now know more. We know what is going to impact the land. You've got things like that we deal with here locally, the total maximum daily load, for example, coming out of our wastewater treatment plants that go into the Chesapeake Bay. That's stuff we didn't know back in the day. So we know what nutrient loading is and what causes pollution. We know how pesticides impact some of the ecosystem. We now have a greater knowledge base than what we had. And people are working harder to try and protect what we have. So I am very hopeful. And then with that as backdrop, you now look at the little kids who are involved and come out to farms like ours and others. I know Jenny Rhodes is doing a lot every year where they have kids that go out to the 4-H park and learn about agronomy day and that sort of thing. There's a much greater effort that focuses on what we have here, and so I am very, very hopeful. I don't want to be discouraged. So yeah, I'm hopeful, very hopeful.
As we've been talking, there might be some people that have sat on the opposite side of what we've been talking about or what you've talked about. Maybe they're pro-development, or maybe there was this one project they really wanted that maybe you were on the opposite side of. What's something important for those people to remember when they're having conversations, especially when it comes to development, conservation, and growth?
Well, for me, I think in this era of social media, when it's easy to get online and just be a keyboard crusader, for me, I think we've got to figure out a way to just demonstrate a greater level of civility towards people that have different opinions. I know the emotion can come into play, and I've done it myself. You know, you feel strongly about an issue. Sometimes, you know, things can boil over. But I think we all just have to, all of us, no matter where you are on the spectrum, just have to do a better job of being more civil. And then the other thing is just having good constructive dialogue. I'm sure that if you talk to any of the department heads in the county, I'm calling a lot of them from time to time, asking questions. I talk to planning and zoning pretty often, just asking basic questions, or Department of Public Works, or the county administrator, or you guys. I mean, just trying to gather information about how an issue might impact something. Knowledge is power. And so, yeah, do your homework. Be civil and do your homework. I guess if I distill it all down, that's what I'd say is be nice, be a decent person, and do your homework.
So you dedicate so much time to all this. What keeps you motivated?
Well, what keeps me motivated more than anything is when you look at the environment and the land, it should not be a partisan issue. We all share it.
Yeah.
And we all have a responsibility to protect it. And it doesn't really matter whether you've got an R behind your name or a D behind your name or any of that, we're all on this spinning chunk of minerals that's spinning in a universe, and it's the only one we've got. And so why you'd want to ruin the only place that we have that is so diverse and so amazing, to me doesn't make very much sense. So what keeps me motivated is that we've all got something to do. We're all affected by it. So let's try and work together and make sure that we can protect it the very best we can, so that your kids and my kids and generations that are going to be coming in hundreds, hopefully thousands of years behind us will be inheriting an earth that where those kids will say, you know, they had the capacity to really screw it up and they didn't. And so anyway, I think we all have a responsibility to do our very best. So that's what keeps me motivated.
Very cool. Wonderfully said. We've talked about a lot, and I'm sure there's millions of other things we could talk about, which means we just have to bring you back again, if that's okay.
No, we got to go to the farm next.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
Yeah, no, come to the farm. We're thinking about having an open house in the fall. I haven't figured that out yet, but we're talking about it. So, yeah, when you see monarch butterflies being released, that gives me hope.
Yeah.
You know, that's the kind of thing where when you know those guys are going to fly all the way back to Mexico, that's the kind of thing that gives me hope. Yep. So I have to be reminded of it every day.
But before we let you leave today, can we have some fun questions?
Sure.
Some personal questions?
Yeah.
Can I curveball you with one that we didn't tell you was going to come?
Uh-oh.
This came to me as I was sitting here. I was like, I need to ask this question because we get to see you fight for environment and we get to see you make stances. But I want to know, and I'm going to give you an easy caveat that let's pretend what I'm about to ask you does not affect the environment at all. There's no impact. If you could have one thing developed in Queen Anne's County for your entertainment, what would you have built?
Wow. I would say, now you're going to laugh. I would say a natural history center.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That focuses on the shore's unique natural history and archaeology. Because keep in mind, there's evidence of humans living on the eastern shore that go back 12,000 years.
Wow.
Which is really hard to sort of grasp.
Yeah, wrap your head around. Yeah.
Because Europeans have only been here for 450 years. And so you imagine going that deep into history, thousands of years, having a place where you could go to learn about that, I just think would be awesome. So that you don't have to go to the Smithsonian in Washington, but have something that's more central to the Eastern Shore.
That would be cool.
So, yeah, I'd love to have that. Other than that, bring back a roller skating rink, and that might be cool.
That's it. All right, snip this part out. Jay Falstad wants a roller rink.
Right in center.
Yeah, right.
So I doubt you have any free time, but if you do, what do you like to do in your free time?
So I love spending time in a canoe.
Okay.
And
well, you're right on the lake.
I'm on the water, but just going in any other areas. What's great about where we live is we truly live in a liquid landscape. You don't have to go very far to be near some amazing waters. And one of the great things about the waters that we're on is you can explore these really shallow creeks that other boats can't get to and be out in an area where few people get to. The solitude, everything that you see can be accessible by a canoe. And so I love spending time in a canoe. And that's where I try and spend a lot of my time when I get it, which isn't that often.
I was going to say, I don't know when you
But
have
when you
free
get
time.
it, you take advantage.
Yeah.
What's one thing you wish more people understood about farmers, conservationists, or environmental advocates?
So I know agriculture sometimes gets a bad name. For me, I think farmers are probably one of the unsung heroes when it comes to conservation. And here's why. When you look at a lot of these large farms around here, they're not all farm fields. There's a percentage of them that are all in forests. And that's where this unique habitat that we have exists. So that's where the tree frogs live and where the box turtles live and all these other unique insects and flora and fauna that we have. a lot of farmers are, they may allow hunting in those woodlands for wildlife management and so on, but the fact that all those farms are kept in forest land, that's doing more for our environment than I think what the farmer is getting credit for, because all those trees are absorbing carbon and filtering water, and so a lot of these farmers are doing great work. They're not recognized for it. The environmental community oftentimes focuses on the easy stuff like the pesticide use and fertilizer use without looking at the broader picture. And so I think they play a crucial role in both conservation and really protecting kind of the area that we all love and live in. That's probably the one thing where I could say where it's all connected, where agriculture and conservation all sort of come together.
Absolutely.
Well, and if anybody that was listening today, they want to get more involved, they're interested in all these topics, what would your suggestion be for somebody to get involved, to get more involved, volunteer, any of those things?
Yeah, so QACA isn't the only environmental organization on the Eastern Shore. There's some other great organizations. The Eastern Shore Land Conservancy is one, Shore Rivers, the Corsica River Conservancy. All of these organizations have volunteer opportunities.
Plastic-free?
Plastic-free QACA doing great work and making a big difference. So, I guess at the end, just get involved. Find something that you care about. There's some wildlife rehabilitation opportunities out there. Some that are in Queen Anne's County, and I'm familiar with some that are out. But just get involved and be a part of what you care about. And if we can all do just a little bit of that, then we'll just make the place better. We'll make it all better, and we should do that.
Well, there you have it. So everyone now that's listening has their homework. If we all just do a little bit, that's a great place to start.
And then come to a meeting.
Come to a meeting. Yeah.
And usually this is the time where we tell everyone to watch all the videos on everything that you've talked about. But you've talked about the entire county for a little bit, so you're just going to have to watch all the YouTube videos that we've made.
Yeah.
You're going to go online. Make sure you follow our pages so you get all up-to-date information. But man, we talked about a lot, Jay.
Yeah.
I'm glad you came
No, it was
by.
great. I'm glad to do it. And I'm very appreciative for the opportunity. So thank you.
And next time we'll get to talk about Calico Fields a little bit more because we're going to take a visit.
You must. Yeah.
We
We'd
must.
be happy to have you.
Yeah. We make another piece. I haven't been out.
Yeah. So when we usually start releasing monarchs, usually August and September. So it's a great time to come out. The wildflower meadow will sort of be winding down at that point. But I'd be happy to have you.
All right. We got our plan.
Yay.
All right. Well, Jay, thank you for coming by.
Thank you.
Beth, thank you for putting together this episode like you always do, amazingly, being our producer for the day. And also thanks to Chris, who's in the booth, who may or may not remember who I was trying to throw under a bus earlier, but that's okay. So go online, watch our videos, get involved in your community, just like Jay was saying, whether it be out in the fields with your hands getting dirty or whether it be in the room making a statement to the commissioners or to planning and zoning. There's tons of ways to get involved, protect the environment, protect our community, and make your voice heard. I want to thank you guys for sitting down with me for about an hour today having fun. But for right now, I consider this agenda closed. Thanks for joining us for this episode of The Open Agenda. Stay connected with county news, programs, and events at QAC.org and follow at QACGov and at QACTV on social media. And don't forget to subscribe to The Open Agenda on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
This is the Open Agenda.